Welcome to the She's an Asset podcast, main edition. I'm your host, Autumn Schmidt, and I'm very excited to bring you this new chapter where I will be highlighting and interviewing the women of Maine and New England who are making an impact. I hope you enjoy. What's up, everybody? Autumn here. Today, we're going to be talking about bullying. We're going to be talking about bullies and any kind of bullying you may have faced. This episode is going to be one of my famous personal development episodes where you're just going to hear me kind of riff, go off. I'm going to talk to you about what's on my mind. And then the other kind of episode that we have here on She's an Asset is where we do interview style, where we're going to be focusing on the women of Maine, and we're going to highlight on what they're doing, what they're up to, how they got to where they've got to. I want to really highlight their stories because the goal is I just never want another person to feel like they can't. You can't get out there and achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve. You can't have whatever it is that you want to have. I want you to understand that you have everything that you need right now to achieve everything that you want to. We just have to tune in. We have to get you to tune in. Remember, you are the asset. And that is why I created the company, She's an Asset. So I want to move forward and I want to talk with you about bullying. I hosted my first ever She's an Asset event in Portland, Maine. It was held in March, so March 7th of 2025. Writing that down. um, and what the feedback I received, I told a lot of stories. I shared a lot about, my journey. And the reason I shared about my journey a lot was because I've been through some shit. Your girl has been through some shit. I have been knocked down. I've been faced rock bottom multiple times in my life. I've been kicked while I've been down. And I'm still getting back up and I'm fighting, I'm still getting back up on the horse. Even after falling off the horse, man, and I legitimately did fall off my horse about a month ago. And I did get back up. And a funny story, he's the most incredible horse. And he like looked at me and was like, he just stood next to me and was like, "What are you doing? Get up." And I'm like, "Well, you weren't supposed to go that way." And he's like, "Well, you weren't supposed to go the other way. You literally went the opposite way as me. What are you doing?" And I'm like, "You're right." And I fell off. Yeah, he's pretty tall, so that sucked. But anyways, I'm very happy for my helmet. But that really is, for me, that really is this like it's very much a parallel. Okay? It's very much a parallel for life and what we're going through. And the thing is I tell my stories because you and I are not so different. We may have different stories, but the themes are pretty much the same. Life is hard. We're going to go through some hardship. We have to figure out how to navigate that hardship. We have to figure out how to get through it. And then what we have to do is we have to pick ourselves up and we have to dust ourselves off and we have to keep going and we have to hold our chin high, put our shoulders back, and we have to help other people to do this. And how we help other people really simply can be just by us getting up and being resilient and overcoming that adversity. And for me, and you're probably going to hear me talk a lot about this throughout this podcast because it's been so significant in my life, is this bullying aspect that I've gone through. And now, first off, I'm just going to preface and say I'm not a victim and I don't look at myself as a victim. I look at bullying now that I've healed. Okay. I look at it as a much needed energy. And for me, it was much needed because which is really funny about what I'm about to tell you, based on what I teach and what I have been teaching for years, but I naturally did not stand up for myself. I naturally am not a confident person. Everybody always is like, "Autumn, you're so confident. What is your secret?" And I'm like, "No, I'm actually not naturally confident at all. This is a very much learned skill. And some of it was learned because I didn't have a choice. Okay. And then some of it was because I wanted to amplify. And the part that I didn't have a choice was really standing up for myself and learning how to stand in my power at a very young age. First time I was bullied, I was 5 years old. And I was in the 5 or 6 years old, maybe six. I'm like trying to go back. 5 or 6 years old, and I'm on the playground and I'm playing with a friend, and this boy comes up to me. And out of nowhere, I mean, legit, like, and believe me, I would tell you if I was nagging this dude, if I was like running my mouth, which I am not above, I would tell you. But he comes out of nowhere, and I want you to picture this. Like, picture here I am, I'm out on the playground, and on this playground, it had, the what is it, like the mulch. So I'm playing in the mulch, I'm playing on the swings. I've got my little friend next to me. And we had just like got off the swings. So we get off the swings and we start walking. And I think we were going towards like a slide or something. And so we're like on the in between. And this boy comes up to me and he says something to me. And I turn around and I'm like, what? And he uppercuts me. And an uppercut, if you don't know, but he uppercuts me into the stomach, right? My diaphragm. And so he winds his fist, clenches his fist, winds it way up, puts it behind him, and like uppercuts to my diaphragm. And so what you have to know is that immediately knocked the wind out of me. And so I felt like I couldn't breathe. But because of my training, which at that time I had been in the martial arts for maybe a year, but I was going consistently. I tackled him and I put him in what's called a scarf hold. A scarf hold is when you will take one hand and you kind of put them in a choke hold a little bit, but you're not choking them. I mean, I could have choked him, but you just take your arm and you literally wrap it around their head like a scarf. And then you take your other arm and you wrap it around you take your other arm and you wrap it around their arm and you pull it in towards your body. So it goes over, under, you pull it into your body, and then you spread your feet. So give yourself a good base. So think wrestler, like base, and you tuck your head in so they can't like do anything. And so because I'm like 5 or 6 years old at the time, that was what all I knew what to do. It was like go put them in a scarf hold and like just chill until like sensei or somebody comes. And that was what I did. And then a teacher came and and then we both got detention for a week. And when you're in first grade and you're a goody two shoes like me, that was traumatizing. It was traumatizing too because I didn't do anything wrong. But what I learned in that moment was that it wasn't safe for me to stand up for myself anymore. Because when I did, first time I ever really had to, right? In a big way, and I did, what happened? Oh, wow, Autumn, you get your ass to detention. Like you're going to detention every single day during like was it during lunch or after lunch or I can't remember. I think it was like I had to eat and then I had to go to detention. Oh yeah, there was no recess. That's what it was. I couldn't go to recess. I was in detention with my head down in the library. I remember my mom like fighting the principal like every day. And she's like, this is fucking horse shit, right? Like, my daughter does not deserve this. She didn't do anything. She's defending herself and like, you're punishing her. And so like, my mom like really went out of her way to be like, we're fucking celebrating every single day that you're in, like you're in there. We're celebrating because you stood up for yourself. And she knew the ramifications of what was going to happen and what did happen ultimately. And that pattern really followed me because I had, that pattern of really not standing up for myself. Be it, I had cousins growing up and, I had an older cousin and he would literally, he was just so abusive, truly. And he didn't fuck with me so like super bad. His sister definitely got the brunt of it and I would try to stand up for her, but then that was like this whole thing. Because like I was like, I will beat your ass. Like I got to the point when I was like 10, I'm like, I'm gonna beat your ass. Like I'm legitimately going to do that. And if you come near me, but I think it doesn't matter. Like brother sister dynamics are different. And it wasn't good for me to get in the middle of that. So, but he But he would publicly make fun of me. And so again, like here that pattern is again. And I'm not telling you all of this because, oh, listen to Autumn be a victim. I have many more stories of this. But the question is where are you being bullied in your life? Where have you been bullied? And what did that mean to you? And if you can go and look at it now, again, this is going to be in a it tends to be pretty emotional, okay? Because that shit hits right to the heart. And that really, obviously, as we know, can cause some people to get really low and take their own life. And that's the truth. Like that is the truth. You can bully people to do terrible things. And And I just want to I want to name that and I want to honor that. And I'm not making light of it. I'm just going to give you a different perspective, a perspective that I really could have used a long, long, long time ago. That maybe that I needed that bully energy to pull out of me the part of me that was going to start standing up for myself and not need, right? Not need the bully energy, but really start standing in my power and really start owning who I was. One of the things as a martial artist, especially at my dojo, is like you really kind of had to downplay all of your skills, to be honest. Because we could never get into a fight. I mean, it was a very big rule. You never get into a fight unless they have to hit you first. You were never to throw the first punch ever, as a martial artist and at my dojo. And like I told you a while ago, I really am a rule follower, or I was. And so, I never did that. And that really caused me to go the other way. Like I'd go the other way, go the other way. But sometimes you can only go the other way so many times. And I'm not saying that there's not times in life where we absolutely need to go the other way, because there are. But when that becomes the pattern over and over and over and over and over again, like what are you telling yourself? Like, that you're not going to stand up for yourself, like you're not good enough to stand up for. It's this whole thing. And the reason why I want to talk to you about it is because the pattern really follows us into adulthood. And if you know my story, even just a little bit, then you know that it really did follow me into adulthood. And there's many more stories on the in between. But one of the more recent and public ones was in 2022 when the bullies came for me online. And I have memes about me, podcast episodes about me. I have hashtags about me. There's like hundreds of profiles that would, mimic me, follow me. Some of them are created to be like, obviously like a version of me that I am not, or however they viewed me. And that really crushed me. I can sit here and act like I was tough, and you can actually go back and listen to some of my podcasts during that time. You'll hear me, and I would fake it to like try to fake it till I make it, But and that was a really hard time. 2022 was a really hard year for me. It was some great blessings. It was some beautiful things that came from it, but then, there was some really tough times for me. And so I bring that up because I continued, but I haven't continued without healing. And I haven't continued without reflecting on what that has meant for me. And so the question for you is, in your life, where is the bully pattern? The pattern of somebody's going to pick on you, somebody's going to give you a hard time. Where is that pattern for you? And where haven't you looked at it? Where have you been trying to look away and avoid it? Because I bet your greatest blessing and what you need to learn is in there. It's in there. And I'm not saying I'll never get picked on again. I'm sure that I will. And when it happens, I'm going to actually look at it and say, do they have a point? Do they have a point? What is this here to teach me? Like, this sucks, right? Like, it sucks. Nobody wants to get picked on. And there are lessons within that. And if we can choose to look at the hard stuff that way, that is how you become resilient. That is how you become unstoppable. That is how you recognize that you truly, truly are the asset in your life. And it's nobody else and it's nothing else. It's you. And you have the power. And so today's quick hit, professional development hit, It's really about you. One, I want you to know that if you've ever faced any of that, you're not alone. That's really important for me, to get out there. And number two, take a different perspective. Maybe look at it that way and see what you come up with within yourself. See what you need to learn because I guarantee you there's lessons in there for you. And once you get in touch with them and you heal them, you're going to become unstoppable. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the She's an Asset podcast. If you wouldn't mind, could you please share this out? The only way we grow and I can get this out to as many people as possible is with your help. So we're kind of in this together. And the good thing is I know you have my back. So I want to say thank you and ask for you to share the show. And if we're not hanging out in the socials, I hope that you'll come and hang out with me. I'm Autumn Clifford pretty much everywhere. Thank you so much. See you next time.